Today's video, we're going to discuss how to create a sphere with the cross-hatching technique. I'm going to use a marker, Sharpie thin marker. I think it's a 0.5. Okay, for those that want to know the thickness. All right, so what I want to do is just kind of draw a nice little line at the bottom here, and on this line I'm just gonna practice some cross-hatching techniques right here. So what I want to do is first go in one direction, consecutive straight lines, try to get them as close as possible. This is gonna be my darkest area, and then intersect them. It's important to note that if you want your area dark, you need to put more lines, and those lines must get closer so that the white of the paper starts to disappear. Okay, I'm gonna go somewhere in the middle and do the same. I'm looking for a gray. May not be the perfect gray right now, but I'm looking for a gray. I'm gonna leave it there, and then I'm gonna work my way back, okay? Now, if you're teaching this course or you're a student, you may want your students to work off of little squares that are in similar size. If you have confidence in the student's ability, you can let them kind of be a little freer, less technical, unless you're looking to build some precision in line making in this technique. Okay, so I want to build that up, get this darker. Now I can start making some comparisons between this square and the one to the right, one to the left. And I could do that for all of them. So I'm obviously going to work on these so that there's some transition. Okay, so this one I have to get a little tighter with the lines so that it's completely black. Let's go up and down with it. Right. May want to add a little bit more in this one. Here, work my way down now. Now, as we move to our right, to our very light hatching area, we want to just make sure that we're separating the lines and just kind of just touching the paper at this point. Yeah, specifically if you're using markers or pens, where the tool is not as forgiving as a pencil, you may want to just kind of lightly. Okay, so this is our bar, right? Can we get darker? Can we improve some of these areas? Yes, of course. Okay. You definitely will get this darker. Right, but there is a transition from dark to light. Now, let's draw the circle first, which is the two-dimensional shape. And I like to just kind of air draw it first, get my hand moving, and then I slowly just start applying the tool. And I'll leave it as is, okay? I like to tell my students to throw a background line in there so that the sphere is in a space, okay? And the next step is to throw the cast shadow. So depending on the direction of the light, which ours is coming left, top left to bottom right, you want to carefully place your cast shadow. Okay, now we're going to go from dark then to a slight light, back to dark, back to light, and we're going to move in a ellipse inside the sphere, and I'm going to show you how this happens. Some may want to kind of just drop the sphere in there, okay? And what you want to look for is a curve into the outer line. You don't want to create football corners, all right? That's not what we're doing. We're curving it in. So it's wrapping around. It's wrapping around, okay? So let's fill this up, right? We have a general sense of what our shape's gonna look like. And I'm just going to attack the dark area, right? Start with the hatching, right? This is hatching right here. And now it becomes cross hatching. We'll do it again. Just to promote some tone in here. Okay, we're gonna come back to this, but I just wanna kind of lay it there, identify where my dark is. I also like to do the background so that I'm teaching some space at the same time, okay? Something I like to do. You don't have to do this. You can just concentrate on the shape itself. So I'm going to build this area up. And first we're going to start with the hatching. And as you can see, I kind of change my direction because I want to flow with the actual object. All right. And then I attach this here. Just kind of lightly work it in. And then curve. And then finally, just touching it. All right. There is a reflective light here at the bottom. Some people like to put this bright light in there. I kind of just something small. It doesn't have to be too crazy. I mean, if you're looking at a sphere and that's what's going on, then you place it in there. But we're just working from the concept of a sphere and its natural, or what you think it's naturally supposed to do, okay? So now we can get a little tighter with the drawing, concentrating on specific areas. So I'm kind of hatching right against that edge. Okay, change the directions a little bit. As long as the lines are intersecting, you're doing fine. Now, for the video, kind of kept this kind of stationary, so I'm going to turn it so that I have a better angle, so I can apply my technique just a little bit better. In fact, I'm going to reverse it here and just kind of concentrate. I don't want to be fixated in that position. So let's work this back here. And the cross-hatching actually builds, it's almost like exercise for your hands in creating lines. So I like to do this every so often. Spill that. Some of that. Working back and forth between the background is also important. Just like that. Now you have to put some more hatching marks in here. So I kind of just walk my way up. concentrate on the background so that the sphere really pops out. Now, I don't like to leave all this white available. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just slightly, a nice tone here. Now remember, this is an exercise. I like to give my students this before I do any still life or any work that requires the student to see natural objects that's in its own environment, inanimate objects, so that they see, or at least practice and understand how light flows, and okay, and it's pretty normal to move your drawing around. If you're not moving it around, you can end up just making something very stiff. Your hand, it won't be in the right place. It's a lot easier to move the paper around to get the right angle than it is to try to move your arm around, leaving the paper stationary. So before I end this little exercise, we definitely could work more on this. But I think if you're one of my students, you understand where I'm going with this, all right? So first of all, where the light's coming from, which is up here, this is called your light source, okay? It just happens that it's hitting here in the high light, okay? That's your highlight. This dark section here is called the cast shadow. And the reason it's called the cast shadow, because the shadow is a contour of the object, okay? All right, this technique, this is called your cross hatching. This is the cross hatching technique, right? So, technique. Okay, a series of intersecting lines. All right, so there's a series of intersecting lines that captures, say, value. Put it right here. And value is the quality of dark to light. So this section back here above this background line, so this is your background line, all right, and this is your background. And your foreground, obviously it's in the front, which is here, right? So these are the basic parts to a composition, right? Background, foreground, your object, you can consider that the middle ground. Light source, highlight, background.